Daily.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. I'm your host Marty alongside Dave.
Hello.
And making his, shall we say, triumphant return. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but John, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
All good. How are you doing?
I'm the exhausted father of two, so yeah, I'm glad to be here for the next hour or so to shoot the proverbial.
Good. Yes, John has been off. For anybody who has missed any weeks, John has been off the last few weeks. Paternity leave, we called it. But he has makes his return
Still
tonight.
waiting on that paternity pay dropping, by the way, guys.
You got 100% of your normal pay, so I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
We even give you a gift of 100%. Look.
I mean, we were very, very generous. We gave you as much time as you wanted.
It was a very generous 6 weeks. It was a very generous 6 weeks.
As much time as you wanted, and you got full pay as well. I mean, you can't complain. Exactly. No Aaron tonight. He was running late. He is part of a team that obviously has a lot of people in America, and I think Thanksgiving has took over there and has made him have a lot more work to do today for him. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to anybody who is listening to this tomorrow from the States, because we do know some people from the States listen. So happy Thanksgiving to all of those who do listen from the States. Hope you had a great day. As with that, then that means there's quite a few games in the NHL later tonight as part of the NHL, I think. The Thanksgiving games, I believe. I was looking through the fixtures today, and I think majority of teams are playing for us later tonight and for in the States today, the afternoon, whatever it is. But anyway, I'm rambling now. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm good. Had a good weekend. Got the family out to watch the Giants, and I'm sure we'll be chatting about that at some point during the podcast. So it was an interesting game.
We will indeed. I missed this past weekend. I had a sick household here, including myself, who has got sick this week, and I've been lying on my deathbed all week. But I picked it up, and I'm here tonight. So if I sound a bit croaky or weird, it's because I'm not feeling 100%. John, we obviously heard from you as well. All good in the Scottish front. You're coming over this weekend, I believe.
Yep, I'll be coming over very early doors on Saturday, which means I'll get my head down, get a quick nap when I get there, and I'll be out for the championship game for the Friendship 4, which we're going to talk about just a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm. It is Friendship 4 weekend. It is Thanksgiving weekend, but it also means that it's Friendship 4 weekend here in Belfast, where 4 teams will come across from the United States. Not to get into too much detail, because we will talk about it in period 3, but I'm donning my Northeastern jersey tonight, especially for it. But yes, great weekend of hockey coming up, and we will talk about that in period 3. And if you haven't done so already, you can check over on our YouTube channel. We put up a quick video this week about the NCAA and Friendship 4, just explaining bits about that. And I think, John, you put out a short video as well on our TikTok about the NCAA tournament as well, so you can go over and check that out in short form as well. Boys, I think with that, let's just get stuck into our episode as we always do, and we'll get stuck into our period 1 of hockey. Okay, period 1 is a roundup of news stories from around the UK. We're going to start off as we do now in our period with taking a wee look at our current league standings as they are on the 27th of November 2025. Roughly around about 14 or 13 games played for most teams so far this season. So let's take a quick look and see where we are with things there. So sitting at the top of the league, we have the Nottingham Panthers. can put our graphic up somewhere there. Nottingham Panthers are sitting top of the league with a 13 games played, 22 points. We have the Sheffield Steelers in second with 14 games played, 22 points. The Cardiff Devils are in third with 14 games played, 20 points. The Glasgow Clan are in fourth with 12 games played, 16 points. Manchester Storm are in fifth with 13 games played, 16 points. Belfast Giants sit in sixth with 11 games played and 15 points. The Guildford Flames are in 7th, 13 games played, 12 points. And the Coventry Blaze are in 8th with 13 games played and 9 points. Dundee sit in 9th, 9 games from 7 points. And the Fife Flyers are in bottom still, only with 1 point after 14 games. Guys, I mean, things still aren't improving for Fife, and I know, John, you've got a couple of bits and pieces to put in for period one, and we talked about them in the last 2 episodes as well. We had a few announcements we had some team statements put out in the last 2 podcasts. We talked about those. Fife obviously having really great difficulties there, although they have bolstered their lineup, and we're going to talk about that later in this period, so we won't get too much detail.
If we're talking about them, why don't we just talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead. You go first then.
Seems like a good jumping off point. So let's point out the biggest stuff now. The Flyers are 18 losses in a row. Like, that's, I don't know, I'm not a historian in the team, but we must be getting close to a critical mass of losses for that team. They've only got 1 league point for an overtime loss. Challenge Cup is completely blown out already. It's not great. They're without a win now from October the 10th against the Belfast Giants in the Cup. That's not a great show for how the season started, for all the promise that was given. The new owners really have not and are not delivering. Put on top of that, you've got the departure of Brody Kay, who's gone over to North America to develop his game. Clearly not happy with how things are going. He wasn't happy with not getting enough ice time in Cardiff. That was a surprise signing. I thought he would have been great there. Paul Thompson was clearly not willing to give him the ice time, so he thought the option was open to come back to Fife, so he's moved across to Fife, hoping to get more ice time. It hasn't happened. The team are in the absolute pits of the league right now, and he's taken the option to go. What I will give is like a little bit of personal reflection on that is, and I put this on X when this happened, I put this on my own personal one, not the Door 14 one. Any Flyers fan who was on social media having a dig at Brody Kay for leaving the Fife Flyers, give your head a wobble, because that kid is looking after his future in the sport by going out to North America, doing what others have done, doing what the likes of Colin Shields has done in the past, is go out to North America, get the opportunity of ice time in a development league, which is exactly what Brody's done, and come back maybe at some point and ply your trade and show that you're able and capable of taking more ice time and being an incredibly important British part of any team that you could walk into. So I really hope that Brody has a good season, maybe a couple of seasons in North America, and possibly comes back and makes himself invaluable to any other team.
I have to say, what the
Flyers have... Oh, sorry, Dave.
Any player, the local player that has that opportunity, it's an absolute no-brainer. That level of exposure, just learning other leagues, adds so much to your game. I'm not saying staying in the elite leagues bad. Like, it's nice to have our local players hang about, but the only way we're going to be an international recognized league is for these guys to go out and be seen elsewhere after doing their early juniors in their local markets. It's what made Tony Hand the player he is, you said Colin Shields as well, so yeah, 100%. That's probably one of the best moves for him right now. He'll get the ice time, he'll get to see new coaches, and we already talked about the Elite League and the nature of the coaches sometimes being, the same merry-go-round. So getting out, seeing completely different group, and a group, coaches that actually deal in development of players, absolute no-brainer.
Yep, 100%.
Separate to that, then, Marty, the Flyers have looked to bolster numbers. This had been something that fans were crying for, was signings, and they've brought in two. I mean, if you'd done these at the start of the season, you would have said that they were highlight signings. They've brought in two forwards, David Booth, former NHLer, formerly of Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think the other team is Detroit. Definitely in the twilight of his career. I believe he's 39 or 40 years old. So he's at the top end of his career, but any sort of additional firepower and potential goal scoring is precisely what this Fife Flyers team need. And separate to that, they've also brought in Swede Anton Karlsson, who has plied his trade in the Allsvenskan as well, and actually is a former teammate of Booth as well. So these guys know each other, and I believe Karlsson's also a former teammate of another current Flyer in Porsberger as well.
We also talked about in the last podcast with me and Aaron. We also did talk about obviously what we were surprised by at the time was the Fife Flyers also announcing another another player with NHL experience in Simon Dupree. That was a bit of a surprise one because the statement that was released the day before had said they were looking to bolster their forwards, and then they signed a defenseman. But yeah, they also have obviously Simon Dupree as well. So that was 3 players they've signed in the space of the last 2 weeks with quite big caliber.
Yep.
As they did say, although they did say one of the things they did say, I did read today was from a thing that was put out, was that they did say that please don't be like, they want to manage expectations this time around, and they have said, with Karlsson and stuff coming in, like they're not bringing in, it's not like God, they're not bringing in someone who's going to completely change everything in the space of like one game. It's definitely something that's going to have to develop over the course of a few games. So they have tried to manage expectations straight away.
Certainly, you have to manage expectations when you sign Karlsson and haven't got his visa sorted. So he was actually in the stands this last weekend and wasn't able to hit the ice. So what does that tell you? The other one that I've seen Flyers fans, I don't know if you guys saw this or if it was just my social media that was buzzing about this, but a certain Johnny Curran has left his, I believe, AHL team.
Yes, correct.
Or ECHL team.
Yep.
I can't remember where he was playing, but he's departed that team to Team Unknown.
Parts Unknown, yeah.
Is that a potential? Would Johnny go back, given everything that happened last season with stepping into the coaching position after a season-ending injury and the sacking of Tom Coolan? Do you think he's just, that team is just sullied for him, or would he go back? Do you think that Max Berber maybe has put the olive branch out and said, Johnny, come back?
That's a good question. I don't know. When I seen today that that there was a Parts Unknown type thing where he's departed his team and they don't know where he's going, if he is going anywhere. I did have a think about where would he maybe land if it was to come back to the Elite League. And I don't think Fife was the first on my. I don't think I had Fife first on my thoughts. I think my initial thought was maybe Coventry as a place to drop in where they're maybe having a bit of a struggle, and we know he performed there prior, and he was well liked there. So I thought maybe he would return maybe to Coventry. Who knows? Maybe he's not coming back to the Elite League at all. I don't,
Yeah.
Maybe he's coming back to run the league. I mean, it could be in worse hands.
True. Right. Where was I? Yes, asking questions. Let's move back to the standings, if we can. We've talked about Fife and they're at the bottom. Let's take a wee quick look at the top of the league, boys, and see where things are standing there. All change again. The last podcast, we talked, me and Aaron, we talked about the fact that the Sheffield Steelers were sitting top of the league by a few points, by I think maybe 1 point, or it was a goal difference maybe at that point. Sheffield Steelers were sitting top. 2 weeks later, we are looking at the Nottingham Panthers back sitting on top, 13 games played with 1 game in hand and sitting on 22 points. And the Sheffield Steelers now down in second, and Cardiff still sitting there in third. It's been an interesting start to this season, quite tight at the very top in the top 3 teams. I know, John, you've had a bit of a break from hockey, so you haven't had a proper chance to kind of keep an eye on things and how things are progressing and stuff. But Dave, yourself, your thoughts on the top end of the table?
Yeah, it's It's really interesting. Obviously, a lot of us had Nottingham to be up there, just based on the tail end of last year's season. Um, and then, they have just continued that form going in. Sheffield, I think, as I said at the start of this year, any year where they come off not winning something, they always come back strong. So again, they'll push all season. Cardiff under Tomo was always going to be a top contender, and they've been really interesting to watch. They're very physical, and there's been a few instances with them and Manchester clashing. It's been quite dicey. Um, One big thing, happy to see a Scottish team up in that top five. Seeing Glasgow, definitely performing a lot better at this stage of the season than he did last year. Um, and yeah, hopefully that will continue.
You say that,
Obviously,
Dave, but you say that about Glasgow, but I think other teams are making Glasgow look better than what they actually are. I think specifically Belfast, and I want to put Guildford in there, but I'm definitely going to put Coventry in there. Like league performance wise, it's not been fantastic from those teams. And listen, we've seen this before, especially from Belfast, where we have the early season stuff. Um, the absolute panic stations coming up to Christmas, and all the fans going, "That's it, the season's done. Let's concentrate on playoffs." And I live in hope that once again that's exactly what will happen. The Giants will go on their, what is it, usually December, January road warriors run, and we'll walk away with points after points after points. But
we'll
I genuinely think that the results from those other teams are making Glasgow look
I
very good.
I actually think I'm going to argue against that, John. I think you're taking away from the fact that Glasgow actually I think are performing pretty well this season so far. If we take a look at both the league and the cup, and the fact that in the cup, they clawed their way back in the cup to successfully take that last spot in the group competition and the group stages to move into that
You could arguably say that Dundee choked.
well, you could, but I still think you shouldn't take away from the fact that Glasgow have been performing both in the cup and the league. And I get what you're saying. Maybe some of those teams are maybe making Glasgow look a tiny bit better, but I don't think we can take away from the fact that Glasgow have been performing pretty well. And we can't, you have to give it to them. And I don't think I suppose I'm going from the point of, I'm just going on the devil's advocate of what you are saying. I just think, they're doing pretty well. And I don't think Guildford, when you say Guildford making look, I just think Guildford aren't the team this year. I think they're really struggling. Obviously they have all of those instances with their injuries, and they're so depleted and stuff with all of that. And yes, that probably hasn't helped. But I think Glasgow are holding their own at the moment, sitting still in fourth. And I think they've performed pretty well so far from the start of the season. And to still be sitting there where they are at this time, I still says it's something, it still says something about that team.
Listen, I'll hold my hands up, especially when you're mirroring exactly what the Guildford Flames commentary team is saying in the chat right now, saying that you can't put Guildford in that vein of making the clan look good. You just can't seem to beat them, and he agrees. He says it's weird.
It was a bit like it's a bit like this. It's a bit like the start of the season when Belfast just couldn't get one over on Dundee. They just couldn't. They couldn't do anything to beat Dundee at the very start of the season.
They just had their number.
Out, Anthony's just agreed with me. I feel vindicated.
Yeah, they're good, but I don't think we should take away from the fact that I agree. Look, I'm just saying I don't think we should take away from the fact that they've performed pretty well so far this season. I don't think we could put it down to everybody else is doing them a favor. I think we have to put into the fact that they're 12 games in, they're still sitting 16 points, and I think they're holding their own at the moment. They're doing okay. They're not great.
Let's bear that point in mind as well, that we're between 11 and 14 games.
Exactly.
Actually, just noticing Dundee have only played 9 games in the league, but we're less than we're around a fifth, nearly a quarter of the way through the season. Let's not get carried away.
The one thing I would say about it's been very interesting about the season so far this year has been the number of games that have been decided in overtime and by penalties has been a seriously ridiculous amount so far this season. It just shows how tight these teams are when you've got so many games that are finishing in overtime wins or overtime losses and shootouts.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that with the game at the weekend against Manchester, Giants against Manchester. that literally went to the wall. And Manchester's a much more improved team this year, and play a different game to what we have seen in the last few years. They're a lot more physical than they have been. They were a lot more physical than the Giants on the night. They really forced the Giants to play their game, which took the Giants all the way into overtime.
I said when he was announced for the full season, I said Cam Crutchlow would do stuff with that team, and that's precisely what he's doing. He's cementing that team squarely in the middle of the table, and I think that's precisely where they belong right now.
Yeah, and it was really good because this season the Giants, when they've went down, have been behind a goal, have struggled to get it back, and to see them pull it back and take the win in overtime in the penalty shootout was really, really impressive on the night. And yeah, the Giants sitting in the bottom half of that table really isn't an indicator of their performance. Have they been fantastic? Not really, but they have definitely been solid. They've had their ups and downs. They've struggled with injuries at the start of the season. They had to rethink their defensive core, with Roach being going to be out for so long. And they've managed to sort of solidify that now, but it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah. We don't have, obviously, we finished off with the group stages of the Challenge Cup in the previous podcast, so we don't have any standings to look at this week. But I did want to have a quick just chat about the Challenge Cup, because we have had a bit of an issue with the Challenge Cup in relation to just the confusion that has been the Challenge Cup after the group stage. And John put out a video on TikTok and put out an apology one straight after, because we got it wrong, and we'll admit we got it wrong. Surprise, we get things wrong. But the Elite League did
put out unnecessarily complicated.
It is. So the Elite League, I love the fact that the Elite League, as of last week, put out a where are we in the Challenge Cup, and really set it out this year to make sure people understand exactly what's going to happen next, because nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. So they put out
rightly, someone at EIHL Tower saw my video and went, oh, okay, we probably need to say something here. Because I said to you guys, we probably, as a podcast covering Elite League, we should probably have a better understanding of how the cup works. We've said it for seasons now that the cup is a completely broken wheel. It just doesn't work. We should probably have a better handle on it. But if we don't understand it, and we can't get our head around it, and we can't just pull it off the top of our head about what happens after the group stage, how does a newcomer to the game, how does a layperson who isn't day and daily looking at Elite League news and all the rest of it, how do they expect these people to understand what's happening with the Challenge Cup and why it should be important?
I mean, John, it wasn't just us. I was watching there's other podcasts I follow, and some of those podcasts that I follow, even they were kind of like, I think this is what they're saying. But they did put a statement that basically Elite League put out to make it very clear. They've said, on completion of the group stage of the Cup, we now know the following things. Sheffield Steelers have won Group A to qualify for the semi-finals. The Steelers are also top overall seed after securing the highest win percentage in the group stage. Belfast Giants won Group B to qualify for the semis. Glasgow Clan placed second in Group A, and Nottingham Panthers placed third Group A, putting them in the admission game. Right?
Yeah, that's going to make it super clear to everyone.
So now let's get into the next part. Let's get into the next part.
No. You don't get it. You
glitched
like so hard right in the middle of explaining that to everyone, which made it absolutely hilarious.
And then whenever you came back, it went like, the disclaimer.
It was like a radio competition for 3 seconds.
Perfect. Great. Let me just mark that so I can edit that in the podcast. Let me go through that again then. Jeez. On completion of group stages of the Cup, we know the following things. Sheffield Steelers won Group A to qualify for the semi-finals. Steelers also top overall seed after securing the highest win percentage in the group stage. Belfast Giants won Group B to qualify for semi-finals, which we know. Coventry came second in Group A, qualified for semi-finals, and Glasgow and Nottingham are in one Group B and Group A respectively, and are in the elimination game. Here's the next stage then. The elimination game is scheduled for Wednesday, the 17th of December in Glasgow. Face off at 7:30. As the team with the higher win percentage between both Nottingham and Glasgow from the group stage, Clam will get to play this game at home and have last chance. In the semi-finals then, as detailed in the normal format change, it's confusing. The semi-finals are seeded based on teams' win percentages. As group winners, Sheffield are first and Belfast are second, and the seeding for places 3rd and 4 will only be known after the elimination game. Coventry Place ended their group stage with 60% win, and Glasgow won by 67%, and Nottingham also won by 60%. Therefore, if Clan win, they'll be ranked 3rd and Coventry 4th. If Nottingham come through that game, they'll be ranked 4th and Coventry on 3rd. Clear as mud.
Tell me how this makes any sense, because Coventry qualified, and I get there's a difference between the two groups because geographically they've split it with a group of 4 and a group of 6, but Coventry qualified in their own right. Why on earth should they have to wait for the elimination game to be done to then know their seeding? Like, when I put my video out, I'd read it incorrectly and I said that Coventry would automatically be the 3rd seed because I thought that's what made sense.
Yeah.
They got through on merit of the games that they played in the group stage. You've got Glasgow and Nottingham who have to play the elimination game. Surely, if it's an elimination game, they should be competing for the 4th seed.
Yeah. That's the way I assumed it was. That's the way I just thought it always worked.
It's just
that's what it used to be.
Mind-boggling how they can make something as simple as this so bloody difficult. The one thing that we do know, and I think I've had this said to me countless number of times now on the video that I put out, is that based on the new way that they're doing the seedings on win percentage, Belfast can no longer host the final.
Unless Sheffield got put out in the semi-final.
I don't know.
If Sheffield get eliminated, then Giants would be the top
seed. Yeah.
I think I don't have the win percentage in front of me.
But I also had it that this piece that was put out by the league also changed the way that the seedings works from what they'd said at the start of the season. So I think they've actually made a slight alteration to how the seedings work as well, making it win percentage instead of possibly, I think they were looking at points percentage before. And I had that pointed out in the videos. So they couldn't even decide through an entire season how this was going to work. Once again, we come full circle, like we do every single season, of me having an absolute mare when it comes to the Challenge Cup and saying I don't care about the Challenge Cup unless Belfast wins.
Okay, well then let's move us on from the Challenge Cup then.
Semi-finals aren't going to be until February.
I'm going to do one last one.
This stage, you might as well do it on the Vomit Cup day for the cover.
Let's move on to the next story before I move on to your last one, John. The only other story I wanted to highlight to this one was a new record has been broken in the Elite League. Mark Richardson has surpassed Jonathan Phillips' all-time record for games played in the Elite League this past Sunday, playing in his 1,178th Elite League game. Phillips was invited especially to congratulate Richardson on his achievement, where he was presented with a award on behalf of the Elite League. Mark Richardson now as the lead number of games in the Elite League. That's it. That was all I wanted to bring in.
Brilliant.
You got a lovely little bit of glass from Jono.
He did. I thought it was a nice little, I don't know if it was a little punch to the gut, being like, "Ha, you're beaten." To ask him to come down. It's nice that he came down, but I'm also kind of a bit like, really?
Do you think it's the same one that Jono got, and he just got told he had to give it to Richardson?
That would be very Elite League.
Scratched off his name.
No, it doesn't even have his name. It's like our old star. It just says longest player.
Right. I was gonna say there's a sticker. Just take out the sticker off and stick a new one on.
Most games played in the Elite League, and they just keep handing it over.
Yeah, so they gave it to Shieldsy first, and then Shieldsy then had to pass it down to Jono, and then Jono had to pass it down to Mark Richardson. Possibly. There you
When
go.
does Dicko get it?
I think it
has to be games
I think
played.
it's number of games played, not length of time signed.
Yeah. Oh,
Poor
Dicko.
Dicko.
John, I'm going to pass to you then for the last story for this period.
Okay, we've got, I don't want to say big news when it comes to the governing bodies of ice hockey here in the UK, but there is a resurgence, a new movement once again to bring ice hockey under one banner in the UK. So this was the news that broke about a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks ago now, that Ice Hockey UK, English Ice Hockey, and Scottish Ice Hockey have all unanimously agreed to put forward a vote to their members to merge the sport into one unified body, which will cover, now this is going to cause an argument here, that will cover England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Dave, tell us why you don't think that's a thing.
Well, no, I do agree that it will. I just think it's not as clear cut for Northern Ireland as it always is special, because currently the existing teams that play in Dundonald play under the Irish Ice Hockey Association banner. So they're funded partly by the Sports Ireland and Sports NI. So not that there's a hell of a lot of funding there, obviously, but they use that as their current recruiting ground for Team Ireland. So as usual, Northern Ireland is a wee special case, which we can't find any clarification on. But we will watch and see. The only team that this definitely will have a big impact on is obviously the Giants and the Junior Giants. I do agree with a full joint up body. So yeah.
Anthony's straight on there as well, pointing out the same thing about the Junior Giants playing in the SIH.
Yeah, Junior Giants play. They're the only team in Northern Ireland that currently play under the Scottish programme. The rest of the teams are obviously rec, but they still feed into the Irish ice hockey programme, which is under the IIHF. So,
yep. So to move this forward, then last night there was a Teams call with the governing bodies, along with Henry Stallions, who gave a sort of an outline of why the merger would be a good thing. So he gave an update based around things like professionalize to perform, enhance the experience, member centricity, sustainability for generations to come, and fully recognize the potential of the sport. Stallions made comments about, made commitments to the respective membership on what a unified governing body could look like. It would include merge and modernise governance so that decisions are made once, clearly and transparently, collaborate rather than compete, champion inclusion and equality, and celebrate collective progress. Now, for this to go through, Scottish Ice Hockey and English Ice Hockey will have to hold general meetings. I think it's EGMs, extraordinary general meetings is what they're going to hold. They are scheduled to be held for both organisations on the 17th of December. To pass the special resolution, at least 75% of the votes cast on the day must be in favour of the merger. I don't know why I was going to tell you that members can appoint a proxy up to 48 hours before. It doesn't matter to us or probably anyone who's currently listening. But
do you think you're going to be proxied, do you?
I can't wait. Everyone who is a member of these two organizations is probably going to flood my inbox. Yeah. There's my X user there, guys. Just DM me if you want me to be your proxy. I'll make a fully informed and educated decision on your behalf.
You'll make a speech as well.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. So there we are, guys. Probably not quite by the time we come back here in a couple of weeks, but we'll be getting close to that EGM, and quite possibly the first podcast after Christmas. We could be breaking news of a future unification of the sport in the UK.
Makes total sense.
It does make sense. I mean, if you think about a joined up approach, just it just allows them to do things that both, like Scotland and England on their own just can't really fully achieve. And I feel like this is something that we talked about a few seasons ago. I feel like, oh, there we go. Exactly there. I was about to say I think this was something we chatted about on the podcast prior to COVID, and Anthony, you've just kind of confirmed that it was back in just before 2020, around 2020 time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things move ahead. I know at the time there was a decision made where the two opposing bodies were kind of against. They kind of had differences of opinions at the time. So it will be interesting to see if that changes things moving forward, and if that's that kind of mentality has changed. So yes, as you say, John, we will come back to this story probably in the new year.
I would say the biggest thing that I think has changed has been the appointing of Henry Stallings.
Okay.
Everything that I've seen him do in his role as CEO has been brilliant. He's been incredibly transparent. He's been very open. He's gone on a number of podcasts. So he's very, very keen to see the sport move on. I think if there was ever an opportunity for this to go forward and to unify things, I think now's the time. And I think the biggest part of that is as well as he's opened up a lot of lines of communication with the Elite League as well. So I think we've had at least one joint statement between Henry Stallings not long after his appointment and whoever's in charge of the Elite League right now. Sometimes it seems to be someone who's not Tony, and sometimes Tony gets carted out to make a statement, which we were all told he was no longer the boss a few years ago, but here, what do I know?
Yeah. That is it. I don't think we have any other stories for this period. Nope. That's the last one. Yeah. No more stories for this period, but we do have a penalty box segment to chat about, because I think we just want to have a quick chat and a moan about a certain body that decides on penalties here in the Elite League. So without further ado, let's move on to our penalty box segment for period 1. Since our last podcast 2 weeks ago, DOPS have come out of the woodwork and have been fining galore over the last 2 weeks. We have seen 1, 2, 3, I think at least 4 decisions made by DOPS over the last 2 weeks. The first one that came after our episode was the Conway suspension for a dangerous trip on the game. Scott Conway was assessed to be using his leg to dangerously trip Storm defenseman Nick Welch, knocking him backwards into the ice. Conway assessed a minor penalty for tripping. He then was suspended for 1 game and fined with immediate effect. After that, we had Hewlett from again. This is involving Manchester Storm. At this time, it was Manchester Storm's Lauren Hewlett. An illegal hit to the head of Guildford Flames defenseman Charlie Curdy. Curdy picked up a loose puck halfway in the defensive zone and Hewlett before checking. As Curdy was looking up to ice to make a pass, Hewlett finishes a high check that cuts across the front of Curdy's body, making his head the main point of contact on a hit, where such a head contact was avoidable. This is an illegal check to the head, and he was assessed a fine and also a 1-game suspension. And then lastly, we have 2 more, which were announced today. We had on Sunday night in Sheffield, Steelers Mitchell Hurd and Storm's Kyle Locke were each assessed a 5-minute major and game misconduct for fighting under Rule 46.9, fighting other than during the periods of the game. Incident occurred at 20-minute mark prior to the start of the second period, and effective immediately, both of those players were fined. So, why are we talking about DOPS decisions that were older, and also why are we raising it? Like, I suppose, boys, I mean, we always talk about penalties that DOPS make decisions on, because we do highlight that in our penalty box segment. The main thing, though, the main conversation that we had, or I know a few of us have had over the past few weeks, has been the decisions that are being made by DOPS. So obviously we have the effective immediately fine thing, and we've talked about that in previous podcasts. But the main thing that has been noticeably missing in decisions, especially when we look at the decisions made about the Conway suspension of a 1-game suspension and Hewlett's 1-game suspension as well. The one thing that's notably different this season that we haven't seen is the explanation in more detail via a video.
That's
Why?
not even.
Why?
That's not even sticking. That's not even sticking because we had videos at the start of the season.
Oh, did we?
Did we?
Yep, very start of the season. I'm pretty sure there was at least one where we got video, and now everything seems to be rolling backwards again, and we're back in the doldrums of not getting clear definition. We're not having it explained properly. We're still no clear on what fines are and what they're used for. But yeah,
yes, and so the question has to be why?
Gone.
Why is this happening? Why are we not getting the videos? Is the main question. So we need to it just baffles me. You know, why can there not be more explanation given into some of these decisions? Because some of these decisions, like, okay, we're fans and we can sit here and we can be backseat refs and whatever else, and we can make our own opinions heard. And as fans of Belfast Giants, we can have a biased opinion on what decisions are made. But when we look at things like the Conway hit and the Conway decision that was made there, I mean, on the night in the game, it didn't look that
the retaliation
serious in the way of the decision that was made, but yet the decision was made prior to the game that he would be assessed in a game penalty and also a fine. I mean,
yeah, there was a
without a detailed explanation that we used to have before. I mean, it makes fans more annoyed, I guess. Is that the right way of saying it?
Yeah,
but
on
sorry,
the night, that one
on the night is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. On the night, the Conway one
assessed a minor.
Yeah, but there was a retaliation on the play. There was a two-handed slash at Conway while he was on the ground, and that was given nothing on the night. And that's like, well, if you had the video and you were given I think you could at least comment on that, but no, there's nothing. The scary thing here is there's a big common denominator with all these bans and fines. They're all in games that the Storm are playing. All three of those.
My biggest one, let alone the retaliations and all the rest of it, but this is the second occasion where it appears that games have been re-refereed after the fact. So I can only assume that there has been a referral either from the Manchester Storm or possibly from the officials afterwards to look at the game tape and re-referee this based on the game tape. So he was fined and suspended, which means he's clearly not. You don't get suspended for a minor penalty. Let's be totally clear with that. Now they've explained in text form that they consider this to be a dangerous trip because of a kicking motion from Conway. But on the night, on the game sheet, it's a minor penalty. Yep. You don't get suspended or fined for minor penalties. I'm sorry, but this has clearly been re-refereed after the fact. We're getting no clarification of what the process is, why this has been looked at again. Was it referred by the Manchester Storm after they looked at game tape? Did the referee look at the game tape and say, I didn't catch that, I need to make sure that this is caught up? Or is it just another excuse to have a go at Conway?
And if that was the case, that they're going to re-referee it because, say, the referee believes he missed something, there should also be subsequent training highlighted as part of that because they missed it. Also, if he done a kicking motion with his foot and his skate, that's a hell of a lot more than one game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me. I'm a Giants fan. If he kicked out with his foot, that's multi-game. Like that's dangerous.
We're the league of the Fred Galacos incident. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
If you're gonna have a go at a kicking motion penalty, then I mean this is where it's gonna come. Exactly. So I don't know. This is two things in our league that frustrate me massively: DOPS and the Challenge Cup. They can both get in the bin.
And the whole thing is DOPS had got really good. When you had the videos,
look, we're back to the complete anonymity of what DOPS is. Who is the DOPS panel? Who is this stuff being sent to make adjudications? Is it still the former NHL referee who went unnamed for multiple seasons? Is it someone in Europe? Are we sending this to the CHL's Department of Player Safety to get their adjudication? Who are we paying to do this?
Because that was one thing.
It doesn't look like we're ever going to know.
Talking to it with other fans about this one, actually, in work of all places, it happens to be a couple of ice hockey fans. We were talking about it, and Yes, you get annoyed about fans or bands. Everybody does. But whenever you had the video, you were like, "Oh, all right, fair enough."
You can
That's
pick it
where they
apart.
came to that decision. Yeah, and you can disagree with it, but you can go, "Well, I can see where they're coming from." And when there's no video, it's just this ambiguity, and it just sounds like they're making it up.
Yep.
But that's my teal tinted glasses,
Before we move on from DOPS and reffing, I just I meant to add this in as a little tiny pointer, but I may as well just put it in here. For anybody, the last few weeks, the league has been testing the live mics on certain refs. And I think that was the Glasgow Clan game. I think was one of the first games. I think it had a live mic ref, if that was right. And that was quite fun to hear their version of Fight for Fighting, which is pretty funny.
Can you imagine if they? Can you imagine if they do that in Belfast with what I've heard about the PA system currently? It would be.
That's pretty accurate, yeah. We apologize for anybody who's listening to that. Headphones just went really loud all of a sudden. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. But yeah, no, it's pretty fun. I seen the video. I know Dave, you shared the video in our group chat. It's pretty fun. But yeah,
he definitely got a little bit more animated than he normally would have.
Oh, definitely, 100%. Exactly.
Anthony disappointed he didn't give them 5 minutes for a square go.
Right. That is it for the penalty box segment for period 1. So let's move swiftly on to our period 2 of hockey.
Hello and welcome to period 2 of hockey, where we'll talk about hockey from everywhere else in the world. We usually start this with the NHL rundown and the wildcards, and I have made sure that I am on November the 27th, because every time I do this, I get October the 13th. It never seems to work out. Look at you, one you prepared earlier. So in the East, I was just reading your things. It doesn't say it on, does it? Does Atlantic?
No, just
Metro. There you go.
Read your standards from the link. It's easier.
So Tampa Bay with 30 points, Ottawa Senators with 28, Boston with 28. Then in the Metropolitan, New Jersey with 31, Carolina with 30, and Washington with 28. I'm not going to do the games played because there's not really a massive play at this stage. We'll see that more at the end as we get closer and closer to playoffs. Wild cards currently being occupied by the New York Islanders with 28 points and the Pittsburgh Penguins with 27 points. And then over to the West, Colorado Avalanche with 39 points, Dallas Stars with 34 points, and the Minnesota Wild with 30 points. The Pacific, the Anaheim Ducks with 29 points, the Vegas Golden Knights with 28, and the Seattle Kraken with 28. The wildcard spots being held by the Los Angeles Kings with 28, and the Utah Mammoth with 27 points. Fairly interesting standing so far. We'll call out some of our current teams. So the Nashville Predators with 18 points, and the Toronto Maple Leafs with 23 points, and the Philadelphia Flyers with 27 points. Philadelphia Flyers are doing well.
I mean, the Philadelphia Flyers, let's be honest, last week, last podcast 2 weeks ago, whenever it was me and Aaron was gloating about the fact that the Philadelphia Flyers were sitting in a wild card spot, in the second place wild card spot. He was over the moon.
They are. To be fair, they've actually. I've been when the few highlights I've seen, they have been playing pretty well. I went whenever I was in Nashville, got to see a game. Must have been the only game that they've won. But they played really well. So, guys, what do you think so far?
I'm gonna say, Marty, that you're gonna want your beat machine ready. The Preds are dog shit. Like 32nd in a 32 team league right now by a considerable margin. When you look at performance, like we're awful right now. I can't say it's netminding.
Saros was
the
unbelievable
the
when
the
I was watching
bonus the bonus I've got right now of doing the overnight feeds with my son is I'm awake at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm able to throw a game on.
Yeah.
And if the Preds are on, especially when they're playing out in the West, I can throw that on because they're the later face-offs. And Saros looks solid. It's everyone in front of him who looks absolutely terrible. We can't score goals. We can't defend. We are so poorly coached right now. Like I cannot see the coach lasting much beyond Christmas if he even makes it that far. I think is it still Brenda Moore who's our coach right now?
Remember?
Do you know what? I don't even know because I haven't been paying too much attention. But yeah, it's just grim right now. Like Barry Trotz has to do something and turn that team around.
Best
Yes,
name
I
ever.
know we've had the Trotz for a few years now. I just I don't know. I don't know what it is that we have to do to start pulling wins together. But look, we're now. What's the opposite of the President's Trophy, and can we hang a banner for it?
You do just so many banners. I thought like we do it as a joke every season we talk about it. There is loads of banners up in that place, and they've won nothing.
Like, it's not true. We won a President's Trophy. Screw you.
Okay, if there was one banner up for the President's Trophy, that would have been all right. There's like 14 of them going around the back side of the arena. They have a big Gareth Brooks one.
Sorry, it's not Brenda Moore. I don't know.
Gareth Brooks played here.
Right it's Andy Burnett.
He has one. But Gareth Brooks has a Nashville Predators themed banner about how many people came to watch his show.
Do you know who doesn't have that? Any other team. So screw you. You're just jealous.
No,
yes, yeah, oh yeah.
No other teams need it.
On the plus, Marty,
Garth's playing Dublin. You better believe they'd hang a banner down there for him.
Marty, am I right in saying that there's a little bit of good news for the Maple Leafs? Is Austin Matthews back off injury tomorrow?
Yes, but that's probably the. I mean, yes, but also like it doesn't really help with the difficulties I think the Toronto are having. Yes, that's one, but I think the main issue at the moment is like this team this year really just I think that's one bit. I don't think the team has really gelled. I don't think the team has really kind of the chemistry just isn't there. And I think whenever it hasn't been stabilized after he left, genuinely believe that. I think there's been a vacuum left by his departure, and it's really weakened part of the actual lineups. And
I think we talked about this at the very start of whenever his trade was announced, because he was a character in the locker room. We always talk about team cohesion, and he was like a glue that brought the best out of some of the players. Even if he wasn't always the biggest contributor on the ice, he was a massive contributor in the room. They talk about this, especially in the Elite League, of how important that is.
Massively, and I think that marred with the fact that I think our goaltending this year really struggling. But then what's not happening with that is then our defensive line are not really. I suppose they don't feel that they have the confidence in the goaltending that's there, and the defense then is kind of almost being a bit too tentative in terms of what they're doing, and then kind of just not being where they need to be at the time. So I think it's a really vicious loop at the moment of defense and goaltending, which is really, really, really hard, like really making things difficult for the Leafs. I mean, if you look at the fact that like our goals against versus our goals for, I mean our goals against is 83 at the moment, and our goals for is 76. I mean, we are hemorrhaging the goals more than we are getting them, but only because I think our defensive really is struggling.
It's interesting you talk about goaltending. One thing I would like to chat about is Jasper Wallstead for the Wilds, our 7th round pick that we got from the Oilers. has had 3 shutouts so far this year. And he could have been sitting in the Oilers and could have been fixing a big massive issue that they have in goaltending currently.
Here,
Just
netminding's
worth
not
checking
their
out.
problem. Netminding is not their problem. They are as bad as Nashville. They hung their netminder out to dry earlier this week. That was 8-3. They got scalped, and there was one of the goals which was all over social media. The puck went loose off a shot to nothing effectively, but it was two, maybe three opposition players who got to the puck first. There were no Oilers defensemen or any Oilers players anywhere near the crease helping out the netminder. So it was a simple tap in goal in the end, but it's just brutal what's going on.
Mm,
And Connor McDavid is getting it thick in interviews right now. Like, he made a statement by re-signing and not taking any salary uplift. He made that statement of, this team can do this. We can go, hopefully, third time lucky and lift the cup. That's not a cup looking team right now. That looks like
no.
he's made possibly the biggest mistake of his career by staying in Edmonton.
It's going to be an interesting year. If you just look at the standings, there's teams there that haven't been up there in a while. The Anaheim Ducks, prime example, and the New Jersey Devils. We haven't seen them up in that. Sheldon Keefe doing what Sheldon Keefe does. Now putting them hopefully into the playoffs. Wee while to go yet, but we'll see. John, you have the only topics for this, so I'll let you run through them.
Yep. Start off with probably the quickest one to chat through, and that is the fact that players at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina will officially wear neck guards. So the rule change obviously follows the death of Nottingham Panthers forward Adam Johnson in 2023. The IIHF announced in December of that year that neck guards would become mandatory in all their competitions, but a date on which that would be officially enforced had not been announced up until very recently. But a spokesperson apparently last week has told the BBC that they have confirmed that neck guards will be mandatory at the 2026 Winter Games, according to the IIHF rulebook. So, guys, neck guards are coming in. What I hadn't realised, and only learned through this BBC story, that while they'll be mandatory in the IIHF in all competitions for all competitors, the NHL is taking a slightly different approach, as it always does, to step changes in the sport, and they're going to activate it for players who are drafted from 2026-27 onwards. It'll be mandatory.
Grandfather, like they did with the helmets.
And yeah, exactly. So players drafted before that, so basically any players from last year's draft on, will not be required to wear it in a mandatory fashion. They can choose to wear it if they want to, but any players from this next draft coming up next year, they will have to wear it. So again, exactly like you said, Dave, for helmets, for goalie masks, all that other safety equipment that we've seen come in. So yeah, that's the first one. I mean, any chat on that, guys?
No, I think it's a great change. The thing that gets me is that the different approach that each team has to their neck guards. The Giants seem to be pushing the all body sort of Under Armour, and then you see different ones with just like they were wearing like a dicky bow,
Actually, yeah, those ones you're talking about, Dave, though, the number of those that I've seen so far coming off this season, falling off onto the ice, and then the rest having to pick them up. There's more than I'd like to see.
If I'm right, they're just Velcroed at the back, aren't they? Those ones, so they're basically just add-ons. They're just like a little rolled up piece that sits Velcroed on the back. It's not even like a popper or anything on them.
Yeah, I think I've seen at least 4 times so far this season, 4 different teams where the ref has had to go over and pick them off the ice and bring over to the boards and give them back to the team. But yeah, they're flimsy.
Yeah, flimsy. Yeah, the best way to put it. Yeah, there've been a lot of them.
And the only other story I've got, guys, is looking at CHL. So the CHL Final 8 has been decided for all of us who I'm sure are absolutely glued to our screens when it comes to the Champions Hockey League. Ilves Tampere, Luleå, Kalpa Capio, Brynäs, Frölunda, Ingolstadt, Lukarama, and EV Zug will compete in the quarterfinals, which will be taking place from the start of December. And going through to about the middle of December, actually, I think. So I think they'll actually manage to have their final 4 finished before Christmas, which means they'll be on to semi-finals come January, and the Challenge Cup won't have gotten anywhere near its semi-finals. So tell me how that makes sense when they can go from a competition of 32 teams to boiling it down to the final 4 by the time they hit the new year. It just beggars belief. But there you go.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the CHL, there's your final 8.
Can I admit to something right now with the fact you've put this up? I seen this and I was going to originally add this to our running order. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? I can't pronounce half the names. I'm going to leave it for John to add to it.
You're saying if I hadn't come to this podcast, it would have been in the next one that I did come to?
Yeah, pretty much. I just thought to myself, sure, John will add it. If I don't do it, John will say it and John will add it. And then that way John will run through all the teams and I have to pronounce them all and I won't have to. So
Fantastic.
But there you go.
Yeah. Some names we're fairly familiar with the Giants group stage as well in that list. So
Kalpa, EV Zug.
And Zug.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we've previously played Ilves Tampere. We've definitely played Ingolstadt before, haven't we?
Don't think we have. Nottingham definitely did.
Nottingham. Yeah. Okay. And then that just
we
jogs
played
my memory
Leah.
as well.
Have we played Leah?
I think we've definitely played Luleå.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we've definitely played them. We can beat them all. I mean, we just didn't want to.
Didn't want to. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Too expensive to be in there.
It's too expensive to keep going. The Giants are looking after the fans. Like that Swiss trip was enough. Like bank accounts were starting to get dry throats. They were getting a bit light there.
It was very kind of them.
It was very kind of them. And that's just jogged my memory as well, actually, that we're only just over a month away from the Continental Cup Super Final in Nottingham as well. Because that's around, I think that's actually around my birthday weekend. I've got absolutely no hope of getting down to it, but yeah, the Continental Cup will be over before we get to the semi-final stage of the Challenge Cup in the Elite League. So help me make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I think I think the final 2 teams of them were announced as well. But I didn't add those because I couldn't announce them. Anyway.
And we have no penalty box for this week and no other stories. So we will wrap up period 2 and move on to period 3.
So nice to be back in my little comfort zone, which is period 3. It's Knocky News. Knocky News is for anything and everything else in the world of hockey that doesn't fit neatly into periods 1 or period 2, or generally where we've got a very long podcast and we just stuff things in here, or where we get to talk about jerseys. It's the catch-all podcast for all your hockey wants. Guys, let's quickly... I'm going to change the order slightly because I put a lot of stuff in here, but Ben Bounce is getting a testimonial. Let's do that one first. It's my story. I haven't got it open, but Ben Bounce is getting a testimonial in Cardiff. Discuss amongst yourselves.
Yes, the 20th of June 2026. It will be a Saturday. Ben Bounce will have his testimonial game. Puck will drop at 5 p.m. Tickets on sale from 1st of March. Seems like quite a while away to give you preparation to buy your ticket. Testimonial events will take place throughout this season. More information to follow. Merchandise will be launched soon and available throughout the season. But yes, as you say, John, Ben Bounce, 10 year, his testimonial season. I mean,
by far the cutest logo in the world. Has his son, I'm assuming, and his dog in the 33.
I'm only seeing that now. Oh, that is cute. Oh, that's pretty fun.
And that, to me, that says everything I need to know about Bounce. Never met him, but obviously he's a top fella.
So there you go. Cardiff fans and Elite League fans and Team GB fans, you will have the opportunity to go to what is sure to be an entertaining night of hockey in the Vindico Arena, if that's what it's still called. I'm pretty sure it's the Vindico.
It is Vindico.
I don't really care. That place in Cardiff Bay that I still haven't been to. Guys, another quick one just to mention as well is that the Elite League Mo-officials are raising money once again for Movember. They've got their special mustachioed jerseys on, and they are raising money for men's mental health and physical health as well. Men's health is what Movember is all about. So you have on the Movember website the links that you can get through the Elite League website as well. You can either donate specifically to the overall cause, or you can donate specifically to one of the officials who is raising money for Movember. Lewis Dolan, Ollie Coyne, Graham Roger, Andrew Miller, Toby Craig, everyone's favourite, and Liam Sewell are all taking part this year and have all raised various amounts of money so far this season. And combined, the team has raised just under £1,000 already so far in November. So congratulations to those guys. Marty, let's come to you now. Because we said at the top of the podcast, it is and I said on my TikTok video, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's time for the Friendship 4.
Yep, the Friendship 4 returns this coming weekend. It is now a staple in the Belfast calendar for hockey. This month of Friendship 4, or this weekend, sees the return of the Friendship 4 at the SSE Arena, bringing speed and skill of the NCAA Division 1 across the Atlantic. So the games will feature this year. We have got 4 teams, as usual, featured this year. We have the Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT Tigers, Sacred Heart University Pioneers, the Miami University Redhawks, and return of Union College Garnet Chargers. They will battle for the prestigious Bell Pot Trophy in front of the Belfast crowd. They have arrived as of this past 2 days and have done their usual stuff in relation to the community-based activities that they do. So as part of this whole program of coming over and playing, one of the other big things they do is they link with local schools and charities here in Belfast and go out and deliver talks and different bits around the schools. And that has taken place over the last few days. As a result of that, then schools around the province then are provided with some tickets to come along to some of those games, particularly the Friday game tends to be the more tends to be mostly school-based, and then on Saturday afternoon it tends to be the community groups and stuff around Northern Ireland come along for their game as well. And then both games then on Friday night and Saturday night tend to be the busier games with just general admission for people coming along after work and coming to watch those games. It is exciting for anybody who hasn't been before. One thing we always talk about these NCAA Division 1 hockey tournaments is the fact that you will be seeing not only will you be seeing a perfect mix of speed, skill, and just phenomenal games, especially when it comes to the final game on Saturday night, but you're seeing the future NHL players, like the future NHL players, the players who will be playing in the NHL, like in the coming 3 or 4 years. You will see some of them this weekend. That's a big thing, okay? It's a fantastic weekend of action. If you haven't got your tickets, try and get one and try and get down. I know myself, and I know, John, you're going to try and get down. Dave, are you going to try and get the Saturday game too?
Yeah, might try to, yeah. Depends on what happens in the house.
Yeah, so definitely be at the Saturday game, and I'm hoping to maybe try and get down to the afternoon game tomorrow afternoon on Friday. So if you are around, definitely come and say hello. But yes, definitely aims to be another fantastic weekend of hockey. And yeah, what more to say, boys? Have you got any questions or anything to say?
By far one of the best trophies in the world. It's amazing. Big bell. It's amazing.
Funny, Anthony mentions this here. He says, try and get down. Anyone got a plane lying around? this is one of my bugbears with this competition. I genuinely still feel there should be a domestic pause for this tournament. Other teams may disagree with me on this. It's one weekend. I know we have to fight to even get a domestic break for Team GB, but this competition is so big. Like, we've mentioned it in the videos that we've put out there. This is the only NCAA Division 1 men's competition which takes place outside of the US. These games count towards their position in D1.
Yep.
At least the Friday games do. Saturday are the consolation game is what it is. It's got as much to do with league positions and everything as the Chunder Cup does at playoffs. But the opportunity to ring the bell pot is gaining momentum, and a lot of teams are wanting to either come back or want to be part of this. Miami are a good example of that. They're the first NCHC team to come and take part in this competition. Union are a returnee. We've seen multiple returnees now who want to come back and compete in this competition. There's a lot of justification and reasoning to allow other fans from around the league to not have to choose between watching their own team at home or coming to Belfast to look at this, because this could be a huge staple in the British hockey calendar, and it should be. It's massive. And let alone that, so should the women's games.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Did you see the end of last season? One of the players picked up a trophy for the the Women's Premier Hockey League?
PWHL.
PWHL. Yep.
Yeah. Was a alumni of the Friendship Series.
I mean,
there's awesome.
I done a video recently there. That's up live at the moment on our YouTube. For the NCAA and the Friendship for it, and the organizers have said that around about 45 players who've played in the men's tournament have all went on to either be drafted or feature in the NHL. I mean, that's some number when you look at it. I mean, it's huge, huge. But yes, Friendship 4 this weekend. Definitely worth it if you can. If you don't have to fly across, if you can, definitely worth getting it down to this weekend.
One last thing, because we all know what Period 3 is all about. It's about jerseys, and we're about to go into jerseys here in a second. Very quickly, Marty, your favourite jersey out of this year's competitors?
Oof. Probably RIT.
Okay, Dave?
Miami.
Ooh, interesting. I'm Union. I think it looks very classic. And I
like Miami's for the same reason. It's the name. It's pretty good.
Per Sacred Heart. I'm sure if Aaron was here, he would have picked Sacred Heart.
The only thing it's the grey that lets Sacred Heart down.
Yeah, I don't like the grey. Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Guys, speaking of jerseys, let's get stuck into a few recently released jerseys. We've talked about the Olympics already in this podcast, and we've had a lot of Olympic jerseys have dropped. So, the first one that dropped, France. A lot of people not liking this jersey. Not liking the banding. Now, I have not read into any of the detail. I don't know what the banding's all about. The one thing that everyone is having a massive go at this for is the numbers, what should be shoulder numbers, they're on the elbows.
It looks like
someone say something positive if you can.
They're themed with color, the color of France.
Do you know what? Do you know what they undoubtedly are? They're undoubtedly French. Well done.
They're awful.
Yep.
Like genuinely awful.
Because you can see through them in that picture.
I think that's just poor editing on their part.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just poor graphic design. That's something I would make to release a jersey, to be fair. So, congratulations to the 12-year-old who got the job to release the French Olympic jerseys. Guys, let's move on. Germany released their jerseys.
Pretty solid.
I think these are great. I think they're just brilliant, classic, nice lines. One of my biggest issues with the Olympic jerseys for this season has been Nike as the producer, and I feel like the Nike swoosh has been too prominent in some of them, just based on color clashing. but I quite like this one. It doesn't look understated, and actually on the mostly yellow jersey, I think that actually looks really nice. I think the Nike swoosh doesn't look massively out of place.
Yep.
Are the shorts shiny, or is that just me?
I just think that's wherever this photograph's been taken. I don't think they're.
Yeah.
No, solid jerseys.
Taken with a harsh flash, I believe.
Harsh flash.
Yeah.
I like the texture bit at the top. I think it's pretty good.
Texture seems to be something that's bleeding into quite a lot of the jerseys this time around, as we'll see in a second. I'm not totally sure if the German jersey has a stitched logo on the front, but if that was a stitched logo rather than a sublimated logo, that would be a really, really hot jersey. But let's look at another one. Czechia.
Ooh, that's nice too.
Czechia have released theirs, and Dave, like you were saying, on the mostly white jersey again, you've got quite a lot of detailing that's visible across the red. Seems to also be in the navy on the mostly red jersey. So a lot of texture across the shoulders. These don't offend me. They're not my favourite, certainly, but they look very classically Czechia.
Yeah. And their shoulder numbers are on their shoulders.
Exactly. Yep.
No, I like them. I definitely like that shoulder detail. I like that shoulder detail, especially in the red there on the white jersey.
Definitely. Say something controversial for a mostly Belfast Giants fan podcast. You really can't go wrong with red, white, and blue, can you? Moving on to another red, white, and blue. Team USA released theirs just a couple of mornings ago, actually. Yesterday morning. On, I believe it was one of the big morning news shows, USA Today, I think, is it? They released them on. You can't quite make it out in the promotional photo that I was able to grab, but there's a lot of what looks like rubber texturizing on the neckline. So on that white jersey, it's on the red bit, on the blue one.
Oh, I see it now.
I would say it's on the blue bit, the neckline. A lot of people having issue with that. Now, granted, Anthony's pointed out something that I was going to say. This is supposed to be an homage to their 1960s jerseys when they were supreme.
Won their first gold medal. Won their first gold medal win.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think they do that. They certainly do that.
Yeah, the air text sort of gives that feel to it, definitely.
Yep. It would be fair to say that it's not getting anywhere near as much hate as what Canada's jerseys are, and I know you covered them last time, Marty, because I jumped into the chat when you were doing that last time. But I can't say that these are my favourites, really.
I would say the US fans will love them.
Okay, yeah.
I think
yeah.
That blue jersey will sell.
Yeah.
Every single Rangers fan is going to want one of those.
I was about to say it does look very Rangers-esque. Yeah.
Guys, I think that brings us to the end of the Olympic jerseys for now. So let's move on. We've got some festive jerseys are starting to drop. First in the NHL, we've got the Peterborough Phantoms. This is definitely a Phantom, and it's definitely Christmas.
I like it.
Marty, you're very quiet.
This is the first time looking at it, so I'm just kind of trying to gather my thoughts about what I think. I like that they've put the Phantom in a nice little festive hat and red shawl. I don't really like the icicles. I think the icicles look a bit. I don't know. Yeah.
Like a necklace.
I don't like them. If it didn't, do you know what? If it didn't have the icicle part hanging down, I think actually I would prefer the jersey. Is just playing with the little Phantom man is dressed up as the Santa.
Is it potentially controversial to have Ghost Santa? Therefore suggesting something terrible has happened to Santa?
Should have been a big candy cane instead of a ice hockey stick as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it should be the candy cane. 100%.
Dorford Team Hockey once again designing better jerseys than teams, as we always do. Ghost Santa sounds like the worst rapper ever. Yes, it does. Let's move on. The Hull Seahawks have released their Winter Classic jerseys. Marty, your thoughts?
I like them. They're lovely. They're really, really nice jerseys. I just the H&S is just a teeny tiny bit hard to read on the front of the jersey.
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's just a
my
bit
major
too.
issue with it.
It took me a minute to actually see the E and S. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. I love the overall clean design of it. I like the contrasting with the stripes and the kind of the cream colored body with the. I love a ties jersey, always do.
Yep.
But yeah, that logo just in the middle is just a tiny bit hard to read.
I'll be honest. When I first saw this, I was really struggling to understand why the Hull Seahawks were going with HE, and
Oh yeah,
it's HS.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
read it as HE. I don't know why that it was like a trick that my eyes were playing. And funny when you said it there, I was like, "Oh, he's done the same as me," and I couldn't figure it out. But it's HS. I feel like a little bit more separation on the
When I
lettering might have
actually
made that easier.
when I first seen it and first looked at it, I thought it was a H and a C.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
I
yeah,
mean,
in
we're
my
both
head,
wrong.
yeah, we're
But
both wrong. But it's just yeah.
Dave, any thoughts?
No, I do. I'm the same as you guys. I like the style. You know what will make it? Will sell it. Is it depends on its finish. And you know if it's a full crested, will make those sort of stand out better.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you actually see them. If it's supplemented, you'll still have that same issue where it's struggle to see it all. But I love what they're going for. I love the sort of off white. It's pretty cool. It's different. You don't see that in a lot. Yeah, no, I like it.
Do you know what it does? I love the color banding on the cuffs because it go when someone does a classic jersey like this. I don't want to call it a throwback because it's supposed to be like obviously a winter classic. It looks like a sweater,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what it does. It makes it look like a hockey sweater rather than a
Yeah.
jersey. And I
Aye,
always
where
like
it
when
would
they
have
do
actually came closer in, you know,
that.
around
Cuffed
the.
like a cuffed in
Yeah,
arm. Yeah,
pretty cool.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I do. I like that too.
Are they
Okay.
playing? Are they playing an outdoor game against someone else in a winter classic? Just a query.
Here, if it's Planet Ice, I would not put it past one of their
The
roofs
roofs come
coming
up.
flying off and it being an outdoor game. Like, enough said. The next one, guys, this is probably a little bit hard to see just based on the graphic that I was able to grab off social media, but this is the Streatham Redhawks. This is their Christmas jersey. I'll be honest, go and have a look at their socials and zoom in on this because it is actually quite a nice jersey. I like this. It's a little bit busy. There's a lot going
It's
on, but I like the detailing. I actually think
ugly
it
sweater
screams
style.
Christmas, which is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. No, I like it. Looks like the whole ugly sweater thing motif that's going around. I think it's no, I like it.
I really like it too. I just wish that again, this is just a small thing. I wish the Mansfield sponsorship at the bottom. I just wish that wasn't in the way of the rest of the design. I know it has to be because obviously it's the main sponsor of the club, but if that Mansfield logo at the bottom of the jersey just wasn't there, and so those stripes and everything were just kind of
Do you know
continued
what
on.
though? That could be a lot worse. That could be higher. And
Agreed.
I think
No,
they've put it
look,
right down on the hem. And
again,
I think that works.
it's only a small nitpick. Otherwise, I really like the jersey because I love a good, I love a good jersey that looks like a crappy Christmas jumper. Like I love them. I do. I really do like them. And I think it's done really well. I like the little cross hatching style as well that they've went with in the jersey. I think it looks really, really well. That's only my little small tiny little annoyance is just that little logo in the bottom. It just kind of just takes away from me for a wee tiny bit. That's all.
Okay. Hey guys, I've got one more, and I think well, Marty, I know you and me have traded comments on this one already, and we're big fans of this jersey. Dave, I assume you're going to be a big fan of this one, and it is the Hartford Wolfpack's Peanuts Christmas jersey. Yeah, I'm here for that. Marty, you've got a specific reason to be here for this jersey.
I need this in my life. Snoopy is my son's favorite character right now. Is he calls him Boopy, and he has his own little his own plush version of Snoopy, and like he goes to bed with Snoopy. He's obsessed at the moment with Snoopy. He's got Snoopy shoes and everything. I feel like I just need this jersey just so that he'd be like, oh my god, Snoopy's now on jersey. He's on Dad's t-shirts. He's on my shoes. Just everything Snoopy. So yeah, I love this. This is brilliant.
Awesome, Dave.
See,
Final thoughts.
if Flynn doesn't walk around going booping and poking him in the nose, it just sounds like the cutest thing in the world.
That's pretty much what he does. Tonight's bedtime was delayed, and the reason why tonight's episode was delayed start is because at bedtime we dropped Snoopy halfway through falling asleep, and then it was a whole big thing for like trying to find him. Then so it was a whole big Snoopy, and you're like, okay, let's find him. Oh god, so that's what delayed everything. But yeah,
absolutely gorgeous jersey, by the way.
That's great.
Really, really nice one to end on that we all agree, and I'm sure in a couple of weeks' time we're going to have a lot more Christmas jerseys to have a look at. So over the next couple of weeks, if you see Christmas jerseys being released by teams, be sure to tag us and we'll make sure that they are in period 3 on the next podcast. And Marty, that's it for period 3.
And I think that is it for this podcast, actually. We did have a little thing in overtime, but I think we'll... No, do you know what? Let's just a quick one. This is just something, a query, and again, it's don't go back, so don't cheat, boys. You can't cheat, and you can't go back to the standings from the NHL. So myself and my good lady wife were watching TV last night, and there was a certain team, NHL team, and they were talking about a certain NHL team, to which my wife pointed out, "Oh, that's really interesting. That's a team that's not pluralized." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, most hockey teams that I know of and I'm aware of all have plural. Like they're, Panthers, like, the Nottingham Panthers, Sheffield Steelers, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that kind of did make me go, "Okay, you're right. Actually, there's quite a few." There is 5 teams in the NHL. 5 teams in the NHL. I actually spoiled it because I was going to ask how many teams do you think there is, and can you name the teams? There's 5 teams in the NHL that do not have are not pluralized. Can you name the 5 teams?
Utah Mammoth.
Yes.
The Wild.
Yeah.
This is great radio. No, I got those
all
5.
Actually, all 5 are actually currently sitting in the top. So they're all 5, and this actually got me as well earlier on, was because the fact that all 5 of the teams that we're talking about are all currently sitting. Kraken. Yep.
Anthony.
Yeah, Kraken. Yeah. He's cheating. He's probably sitting there typing away.
Well,
he's not.
He's not.
He's not.
You know, got the other 2 if he was cheating.
Yes, Kraken's one. Yep. And the other 2 as well are sitting on the top. One of them sitting.
Tampa?
One of them sitting. Yep, Tampa Bay Lightning. One more.
It's not the Blue Jackets. It's not the Red Wings. It's not the Rangers. It's not the Isles. It's not the Devils. It's nobody in New York.
No.
It's not the Caps. It's not the Canes. It's not the Habs. Is it a Canadian? It's not a Canadian team.
No, they're just south of the border, of Canadian border, I believe.
It's not Buffalo.
Is my geography correct? I think it is south of the
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Oh,
well, if they're not in Canada, then yeah, they'll be south of the border.
Yeah.
Hey. No, you're gonna have to tell us, otherwise we're gonna be sat here all night.
The Avs are the last one.
There you go.
The Avalanche.
Yeah. Let's just be clear. Anthony got it before we even said it.
It was only that we were watching them last night, and it was the Tampa Bay Lightning was mentioned last night on TV. To which my wife was like, "Oh, that's really odd," and it's like, "I wonder if there's many other than." And it literally took me. So I was sitting there last night thinking as we were watching TV. Then when she mentioned that, it was like I could totally pull out of what we were doing. I was like, "How many other teams are there?" And I racked my brain. I was like, "I'm gonna put that to the boys tomorrow." And she said, "Oh yeah, no, let's do that." And I was like, "That means you have to start a challenge now every single podcast." So her thing is to try and find a challenge for us now every single time.
Obsessive. So you're absolutely not obsessive about these sort of content things. Like you just randomly threw out a YouTube video once and then decided you were going to do it every single week. So Yep, can't wait for next podcast challenge.
With that, let's wrap up this week's podcast as we always do, and let's send you in the direction of some of our other content that you can go and check out. First off, if you haven't done so already, you can go and check out our YouTube channel. We've put the QR code up in the corner. It's over here somewhere. If you're watching it on YouTube right now live, you don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below if you're not already subscribed, and also do all the good things that you normally do. Hit follow, notifications, whatever it is, to get all of the notifications of our upcoming videos. We have our the most recent video this week was the NCAA Friendship 4 one, so go over there and have a check that out before this weekend to get a bit caught up on what the NCAA is. This coming week, hopefully we'll have a video out on Monday. That should be a video on the Elite League players who have featured in the Elite League who have also had significant NHL experience. Hopefully that's this week. And we also have our No. Why would you?
No, because you've neither Elite League or NHL experience.
Or a player.
Or a player.
Just clarifying in case anyone was hoping I might be in there, but I'm not.
No. So that is coming up in the next week, hopefully. We have a couple of more coming up before Christmas, and we also have our next in our series for the Brief History series, which will be the Dundee Stars, and that'll be in 2 weeks' time.
There'll be some TikTok stuff as well, and obviously a couple of us at least are going to the grand final of the Friendship 4, so we'll probably do some videos there.
And if you want to check up on our TikTok and other socials, we have now put the QR code up in the corner for anybody watching. You can go out and check our socials. We're on TikTok, Facebook, X, Insta, all of that good stuff on Door 14. So go check out that, and don't forget to get involved. Hit the follow button on all of those, subscribes, and also don't forget to comment as well. Join us for conversations. We do love to see your comments. And lastly, we are a podcast first and foremost, and we are on all of the usual podcast channels and all the podcast providers of choice. Our QR code up in the corner for that. If you haven't done so already, again there, hit subscribe, follow, like, whatever it is. Leave us a review, 5 stars, whatever you'd like to leave, 5 stars. It does help us in the long run on the algorithm, and we do appreciate it.
Don't leave 4. We don't want 4.
With that, we'll also direct you towards our website as well, door14hockey.com. You can check out this episode and all the previous episodes up there. With that, we will sign off for this week. I'm Marty.
I'm Dave.
I'm John.